Hello everyone, it's Andrew from TCG, and today's video I'm going to be talking about why it's so important to have a clear goal in mind whenever you're working on things, and how not having that would slow you down or steer you in the wrong direction. And over time this could lead to just moving slow in certain areas or not getting the things done that you need to get done in the amount of time that you have. Because I'm sure all of you guys watching are pretty strapped on time, and having a main job and then doing this on the side, it could be hard to find the right amount of time to get things done. So when you have that time to work, it is very important to have a clear goal in mind on what you need to get done and what to work on. And the reason I'm making this today is because earlier today I was working on something and I didn't have a clear goal in mind. I had 3 tasks I wanted to get done, and instead of narrowing it down to one task, getting that done, then working on the next task, getting that done, and then carrying on, I tried to balance all 3 of them at once, and it ended up taking me an hour and a half, and I didn't get a single one of them done, and I just wasted basically that whole time because I didn't have a clear path or a clear goal to work at. And the example for me was with working on the new marketplace, and then I was working on a feature for TCG Automate, and then something else that I had to work on. But it also applies to working on the actual reselling part, because something that you can get caught up on a lot is when you're going through the day-to-day motion and you're like, I got 5 orders today, I just need to package these, ship them out, that's it, and I'll be done for the day. But there are more tasks at hand that you need to focus on throughout your time of working, because just doing the orders that's like a mandatory thing, and you're held accountable by eBay or TCG Player or whatever platform you're selling on. But doing things like sourcing inventory or organizing your inventory or listing more cards, those things you have to hold yourself accountable for, and you need to have clear goals and tasks when you're doing them. Just for example, I have this sort of like notebook, whatever, and I write down all my tasks in there, so that way every time I'm working I know exactly what needs to be done, and then when I finish it I scratch it off, scribble it out. And at times where, let's say, my inventory is running low, or I need to get more inventory in because my cash is going up, I just lock in on that and then buy a bunch of inventory. And I try to do it consistently, but it gets very hard to just focus on that and do it every single day. So sometimes just doing it all at once is easier for me, especially with the way it was with Facebook groups, and hopefully now with this new marketplace it'll be a lot easier to find things every day, find collections to buy every day. But with the time being, it was pretty hard. And similar to other tasks, just when you have something that needs to be done, get it done, and only focus on that task while you're working on it. And don't try to think like, I'm organizing inventory right now, but I also should be listing cards at the same time. Single things out, get one thing done, and then move on to the next thing. Because if you don't prioritize one thing, you're just going to be spread out too thin and not get anything done, or take an extremely long amount of time to get those same tasks done. And one thing I like to do, I don't know if this will apply to everyone else, but when I know I have to do something, I showed that notebook earlier, I will write it down in there, so that way I don't have to keep thinking about it, and it kind of just gets almost outsourced to my notebook. And then this helps keep my mind clear, and then also just make it easy to remember things or retrieve things. Because if you have your day-to-day life things going on, you got the eBay store or TCG Player store, and then you also have to worry about a bunch of other things, it's very hard to keep it all in your mind. So writing things down is very important if you want to get to a level that's above and beyond what most people are at. Because most people, it's very simple, just go with the flow, do things here and there, and then that's it. But if you want to actually have structure and be able to scale your business, or I guess spend less time but be more efficient with your time, then you need to do these things. And they don't sound as important as how to buy a collection or how to list cards efficiently, but these things, they kind of build a foundation on how your day-to-day works and are they can actually, over time, can be a lot more important than anything else, because let's say you change your method of working on something that you do every day or a few times a week. And let's say that saves you 15 to 20 minutes per day or every other day. Over time, that adds up a ton, and that time that you just saved can be used for better things. Let's say instead of spending 20 minutes, or let's say you save 20 minutes in the way that you organize your cards, or you find a new method to do it and it saves you 20 minutes a day. That 20 minutes can then be used to go source more inventory, or list more cards, or think of ways to be creative with what you already have. And that can be very important and help you experiment and grow in ways that you wouldn't have thought of before, because you were just so focused on getting those day-to-day tasks done and nothing else. Because one thing for me is when I'm on almost like tunnel vision type of mentality, and I know I have to get these orders done, and there's nothing else I can think of, there's no room for me to think of ways to grow, and it's just like maintain. But if you can, when I get in positions where, oh wow, I have an extra hour or two to just work on things, then I'll be like, oh, let me try this new way to list cards, or let me try bundling these cards together, or making a variation listing for these types of cards. And doing that over time is very important, because you will find things that work very well that you haven't heard of before or haven't tried before, and then you could build onto that. For example, my most successful thing that I've done with my store was building the variation listings for my Wizards of the Coast era sets. And before that, I was just doing single card listings. I was doing stuff on Facebook Marketplace and TCG Player. And then I tried it out. I was like, let me experiment with this variation listing, because I see another store doing it. They have thousands of sales for one listing. And I'm like, let me try. Worst case, I just wasted time. But best case scenario, I get a ton of sales. So I tried it out, and luckily I tried it out with base set, like the original base set, which is a very popular set to sell on eBay, and it worked very well. I was like, oh, let me try to recreate this with another set, and then that worked very well too. And I just kept doing that over and over, and that led to my store being much larger, and me being able to buy inventory that most people kind of looked over and didn't focus on, because they were so focused on the popular thing to do, which is ultra modern cards or graded cards or stuff like that. And finding those opportunities, and I know I just went way off topic, but I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, but what I'm getting at is pretty important. So whatever, just ignore the title of this video. But being able to find opportunities that people aren't necessarily looking at can be pretty good. And obviously it's not going to work every single time, but it gives you an opportunity to make profit where most people aren't looking. And another example with the person I had, or Zep from Moomoo's House of Cards, he was on my video the other day. He did something unique, and he did a variation listing for Magic. I think it was like Magic Lands bulk lots of like 25 cards or maybe 100 cards. However, he did it in a way that makes sense for Magic players. I'm not too familiar, but he said he tried that out and it worked very well, and it was his best selling item on his eBay store. And those types of things, they don't just happen by you going with the flow, going through the motions, and not being aware of what's going on and then trying to improve on it. Because I truly think the only way to really grow your store is to do things differently. And I think just doing what everyone else is doing, sure, it can work, and there's no harm in doing that, but to really set yourself apart, you have to do things that aren't as common or done as well. And I think this applies more to eBay as opposed to TCG Player, because on TCG Player you could just list. There's no creativity in what you're doing. You just have to upload your quantity and your price, and that's it. Whether you, like, there's no variation in how you could list. But eBay, you could do play sets or bulk lots or evolution lines, which is a very good way to sell cards, by the way. Doing like a Ghastly Haunter Gengar type of listing can be pretty popular. And I think you should definitely try it out if you have a lot of bulk. But like, you have that more creativity on eBay. So by trying to utilize that and try things out, you are giving yourself a higher chance of becoming profitable and successful in certain ways. And then the last thing I want to mention is that when you try these different things that not everyone is focusing on, you can, one, offer lower prices, and two, find lots of good deals when you're looking for that, because I'm sure you guys all know if you're trying to buy something right now in today's market, probably not like today, but a month ago, it's impossible to find something for below 80% market, because everyone knows they could sell it for really high and everything is selling. So why would anyone sell something for less than 80%? But then if you look at the normal market, and let's say baby shinies are barely selling, but you have a really good listing for baby shinies and you want to buy more inventory. If you are like that and then you offer that to someone and saying, I'll buy your baby shinies for 75% when the current rate is like 60 to 70%, you will look like a golden buyer and they would be very happy to sell to you. Whereas if let's say everyone's offering 75% on it and you come in and you're like, oh, I'll do 75%, you're just going to be just another buyer. It's not going to be anything different. So there's not going to be as incentivized to sell to you as opposed to anyone else. So I think that's very important, and that's how it worked for me when I was buying the Wizards of the Coast bulk. I was not the only person, but I was one of the only people on Facebook buying that bulk. So it was very easy to find it, and it was also very easy to offer lower prices and make a large profit, because they wouldn't sell to me, they wouldn't be able to sell to anyone else because no one else was buying it. So I think that's also just a good tip for how to navigate this current market, because things are slowing down. People are panic selling a lot, and with everyone backing off of deals and being scared to buy, you can come in and offer like 65%, 70%, and they'll sell to you right away. They won't even hesitate. So I don't know. That was a whole lot of stuff in this video. Kind of just wanted to talk about things that I realized, and hopefully it makes sense when you guys watch this. But let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll see you all in the next video.